Hey skiers, it's Bob with SkiEssentials.com. Welcome to our 2022 ski test. Got a Head Core 103 women's for you today. A little bit of a refresh for this year for the core line. For the women specifically, they're calling it the width as per its reference size, so 170 in this case. So the 103 at 170, getting to the wider side of the cores, they do make these a little bit more flexible than the narrower versions. And that's kind of a nod to the more freeride, soft snow oriented side of the skis. Still built with a poplar and Karuba wood core. We get a top and bottom sheet of fiberglass as well as carbon. One of the big changes this year is that they've shaped the carbon, the top layer of carbon, so that it extends out and over the edges in kind of a half dome type of shape. So they're adding a third dimension to it as well. That makes these skis more lively and more energetic than they were in the past. And we've gotten a lot of good responses every time that we've been on these new core skis so far this year. You can definitely tell that it's, kind of a more crisp, more energetic, especially, release end of the turn. So a nice upgrade from these core skis that really haven't been changed since their inception. Another strip of graphene that runs through the central cord of the ski, and that helps stiffen it as well. Speaking of stiffness, these are still quite stiff for their weight, so we don't get a whole lot of give to these things, but the lightness of them makes them maneuverable and easy to use. And as we get into this wider category, we do see an increase in taper and rocker as well. So the narrower, more trail-oriented core skis have, less taper and rocker. That wide point of the ski right about here definitely moves closer to the feet. That allows for a smoother flotation, better rise out of the ski, cuts through the snow right here in the shovel. And then we see that rocker profile become more dramatic as well. Some pretty moderate splay up here in the shovel. And same thing can be said about the tail. So at 103, we're seeing that taper move down to about here, and just a little bit more, fun-loving rocker in the tail here. So releases the turns easier, more playful, lets you skid and smear when you want. So it just kind of puts more emphasis on the feet of the skier versus, being locked into a turn tip to tail. But they still do that pretty darn well, mostly due to the stiffness. Also, these things generate a 15.2 meter turn radius at this 170. So, kind of a shorter turn. Part of that has to do with the widest part of the ski being brought in, shortening that effective edge. But that goes towards that soft snow and more free ride performance versus the true on-trail tip-to-tail edge contact. So we get more emphasis on that soft snow, free ride, playfulness type of skiing. So performance-wise, the stiffness of the ski is one aspect, but then it's counteracted by the light weight. So it's a very interesting mix of characteristics with this ski, but it does make it really a strong performer. Can hold an edge really well because it's stiff, but it also is super maneuverable and easy to float because of its light weight. So we do get a lot of kind of, counterbalancing attributes here. And that's part of the charm of these core skis as we've seen over the years. Mostly we're gonna see advanced and expert skiers on these skis, mostly because of the weight, but also that lightness and quickness do make them accessible for an intermediate who's looking for a wider ski. As we get into this plus 100 millimeter underfoot category, that intermediate to advanced skier is mainly going to be using these as a soft snow specific ski, whereas an expert can use them as a daily driver, East Coast or West Coast, kind of wherever you want to go. But that's it. That's the new Head Core 103 women's. Really fun overall ski. Nice updates to it, and we're just, we've always been impressed with these in terms of how easy they are to ski and their high-end potential. So check these out at SkiEssentials.com, and we'll see you out there on the hill. Bye.